Yeah, Kia Beats. Yo, Kia, what up? I used to be scared of pigs, judges and wigs, authority abusers, inside tinted cruisers. Pull out batons, get Negroes head crack on. Stuff vests with drug notes they stole from a thug's coat. Thugs buy pigs drugs and never get caught up. Use trade tricks, these servants are made dicks. Have the front lines with dummies that know no law, to make you assume that they know no law. Smarter than a 5th grader, rights violators, oaths and badges, but I can so savage. No intellect to object or interject. Civilly dead passes all get intercept. Foul balls get caught, Negro leaders swinging and missing deliberate. Your head they deliver it to the fucking pharaoh, dressing like your ancestors. Study, study, study more holy Quran lessons. Don't be fooled by leaders, saying they black, taking yellow envelopes, weighing their stacks, sold you out to the lodge, and government corpses sacrifice their own to their pale guard bosses. Don't be fooled by leaders, saying they black, taking yellow envelopes, weighing their stacks, sold you out to the lodge, and government corpses sacrifice their own to their pale guard bosses. More's been telling, never to the point of yelling, like black power, coward slaving, never rebelling, backstabber, all talk, never kill a cracker, or kill their own like overseers for slave master, kill their own mentally, not a physical death, not in full life, only civilly dead is left. If you went right, you look up to a conscious diet, abandoning birthrights for a monstrous fight they're not prepared for, cause you don't study, lack of mental exercise, get minds water sluggy, save your waiting, when Drew said save yourself and learn to love, instead stop hating, shells filled with black books calling us Moors, no need for four-legged beasts, mauling us Moors, cause status sets the stage like a costume bar banquet, suffocate devils with a Baphomet blanket, more on my vessel, not anchor but anchor, we civilized sellouts will tell you we conquered, and got everything handed down like a sofa, but Europe comes from a Moorish Queen Europa, America comes from Morocco, not Vespucci, Egypt is America in Illuminati movies, Bruce Almighty, use Morgan Freeman as God, to prove black can't be, so stop living a fraud, wake up, can't you see your own sold you out, wake up, can't you see your own sold you out, wake up, can't you see your own sold you out, that's what Moore's been telling you about, don't be fooled by leaders, sitting they black, taking yellow envelopes, weighing they stacks, sold you out to the lodge, and government corpses sacrifice their own to their pale guard bosses, don't be fooled by leaders, sitting they black, taking yellow envelopes, weighing they stacks, sold you out to the lodge, and government corpses sacrifice their own to their pale guard bosses, yeah. Noble Drew Ali told y'all, you're not Negro, black, colored. So anybody selling you that, you know that they're selling y'all out. Anybody selling you that, you know that they're selling you out. Kia, what up? Dreamy and drooling, falling for the fooling. Mental slaves sell out or get bought out for cooning. Being your example to follow with no strain. Meant means mind, so govern and entertain is more than you imagine. Carbon is melanin, Quran and Bible angels are cherubim and seraphim. Riding on the light angles, traveling at warp speed. We created cross breeds, now we can't walk free. The mind is the plantation, everything is mental. Even filling your brother with lead like a pencil. Mercenaries with chalk, use bodies as a stencil. If rival gangs won't stop you, barbed wire fence will. It could take more, but it might take less. Cursing your God on Job's cash in the fake checks. Spending fake monopoly money, counterfeit at best. When you see something is wrong, you need to counter it best as you can. You don't need a magic wand or to click your heels twice to escape dreamland. Just use your mind if you can't relate. You're living in an illusion, slave to the dream state. Just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by the shoulders, waking from their dream state. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by their shoulders, waking from their dream state. Invasion. Drew Ali my water when the fire starts blazing. Running with the holy buckets, the Caucasian. While Asiatics daydreaming, mental stargazing. Not paying attention, but paying taxes and fines. Nas said the world is yours, he really meant mine. If I ruled the world, you wouldn't want to be black. You wouldn't want to be a deadbeat dad or be whacked for sure. You wouldn't want to be the dirty mall leader, convicted and facing my firing squad either. You won't be put in a box, forget the cedar, taking tires off cars at unexpired meters. If I ruled the world, dirty malls would hate it. Find them with their wrists slit in bathrooms naked. Find them holding scimitar handles slumped over with suicide notes to Jehovah. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East State as Negro and black. We act like we can't see straight, shaken by the shoulders, waking from their dream state. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East State as Negro and black. We act like we can't see straight, shaken by their shoulders, waking from their dream state. Dream a little dream, wake up from the nightmare, dream a big dream. Live your life in fright, scared to change. When everything that grows must do such or stay stagnant. Living your life as a pageant, made up faces with eyeliner and makeup, created by the same ones you call racist. Wake up, allow dead their dignity and exercise patience. Don't shock them too hard with electrifying statements. Everything cloudy, mind acting rowdy, hypnotized by Pied Piper, sign and rap ungodlies. Having so much influence, youths won't pull their pants up, looking like a jailbird, begging for some handcuffs. In a dream state, getting grands up for freedom. Fiat is a slave to banks, you better see them. No different than the people are slaves to brand names. Move from dream to reality, change the landscape. He started from the top, don't listen to your man Drake. Only till clan hates and Masonic handshakes don't work. More's are back, do your homework and assignments. Realize Moorish is the science. You just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East State as Negro and black. We act like we can't see straight, shaken by the shoulders, waking from their dream state. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East State as Negro and black. We act like we can't see straight, shaken by their shoulders, waking from their dream state.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Week.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gate Cemetery, February the 4th day. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes it a little of a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I rock bass, mix it with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets stood me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Salt Bay, flipping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J. Israel. And over door, I lay in plain sight.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Week.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gate Cemetery, February the 4th day. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes it a little of a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I rock bass, mix it with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets stood me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Salt Bay, flipping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J. Israel. And over door, I lay in plain sight. But people still can't see it, so the snake's still showing up. Stakes still high, so the race still going up. Warriors of the North Gate, we not slowing up. Born in the manger, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death, dipping slavery. Looking for life, the book of Genesis. Astroplane entrances, invoke the nemesis. Abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life, finishing.
Norris Lamar, key man or oracle. Using Trinity powers, decipher allegorical, lost in metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic. Facts slap a dirty mo or a Drew Ali critic, calling him Thomas or Walter and get your face caved, or cut like a close shave, drowned in my brainwaves, squashed by heat waves, activating Kundalini. Abyssinia invaded by Mussolini, Selassie I in exile, reptile in Genesis, niggas appearing real, all I see is false evidence. VAR feminists, stomped on by elephants, won't let go prejudice but want Moorish benefits. When you feel the pole magnetic resonance, apis horns of the sacred book called Maleficent, great cosmic mothers, return to blessedness, no pestilence, ace all the testaments, tap into remembrance, never to forget again. Use energy right, not put spell effects on men, wandering the earth plane with no veil shades, keeps you a mental slave as the horizon fades. It's been decades since Christian crusades, not enough rebellions, too many vigil bouquets, holding on to the fence, burning on doomsday, war ruled by Mars, it might be on a Tuesday.
Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try?
Islam Moors, peace and love to all. Canaanland Moors, IGLive. What's good with you? Well, everything's well. A lot of people dealing with a lot right now. It's freaking crazy. But stay strong. Keep your heads up. Man is spirit, not the flesh. So try not to get too caught up in the fleshly stuff going on. Because man is mind. Man is essence first. There's a couple haters, but they didn't want to get on here. So it's all good. If you got any questions, throw them in the chat. And we'll see if we could accommodate what you got going on. But before that, one of the brothers sent me a little 2-minute video. We just want to point out some things for the family who's just getting their feet wet.
Most of us think that the first Africans to arrive in what is now the United States were slaves, but it turns out that that's not true. The first African to set foot on what would become United States soil was a free black man named Watt.
No, you lying. You lying already. You lying already. All right? You're lying already. Now, when you do your research on Juan Garrido, they'll tell you that he converted to Catholicism, and when he converted to Catholicism, that's how he got the name Juan. Juan Garrido means the handsome black man or some BS. That's a fiction. Because if he died in the 1500s, and then they're talking about he used to work for, well, let's just slow down. No such thing as an African. That's BS. Africa's a continent. People come from countries. People don't come from continents. Anybody telling you people come from continents, they're a traitor. People don't like when we talk like that. People get mad, but it's okay. Truth's supposed to hurt. If somebody's telling you some stuff, hey, you know, and they're on the stage and they're telling you all that stuff, and you're not getting mad and you don't want to tear stuff up or whatever like that, you're just sitting there clapping, they're not telling the truth. They're lying to you. That's how they do. Lie. If you go to the lecture and you're sitting there and they're on the stage talking all their whatever stuff like that, and you don't leave there with a full book of notes for you to go research, then people are lying. They're not telling you anything. So ain't no such thing as an African left over somewhere and all that stuff. No such thing as African. We know people from the continent of Africa, and they don't say, I'm African. Never. Ever, ever. They only say that when they're around dumb Negroes who don't know themselves. Which is why Noble Drew Ali came and told you, first pages of the Quran, know thyself. You don't want to do that? All right, well, don't even talk about rights and flags and trusts and forex and all that stuff. Don't even talk about any of that stuff if you don't know thyself. Because if you knew thyself, you would highly consider what Noble Drew Ali presented to you in the 1920s, that all your nigger leaders denied. All your nigger leaders kept playing the African black man games and all that stuff, and look where you are following these clowns who've been telling you all this BS for a century. And then Moors step up, and then we're trying to put you on the right path or whatever like that. And then you don't want that. You want the nigger leader guys who stay playing you. You want the nigger leader guys who still pushing civil rights. You want the nigger leader guys who have fezzes on and telling you $800 for a sheet of paper. You want the nigger leader guys who's telling you, buy this card from us so you can get on some do not detain list and all that stuff. And then all the people who got detained with that card, they're not coming out and exposing these people as a fraud. So anybody telling you about some African people did something, know that they're a traitor, they're a boule, they're a sellout, they're an agent, they're something. Because ain't no Africans. Drew Ali even told us descendants of Africa, which means you're not African. If you're descendants of Africa, you're not African. You got nationality somewhere down the line, right? Free black man. There's no such thing as a free black man named Juan Garrido, because obviously he's not free if his name's Juan and he's African. Juan is not an African name. How is he free when his name's Juan? His name's Juan, but he's free? Free from what? What's he free from? And since when is there such a thing as black men? And why would black men be free if blacks are slaves? Why would black men be free if black means civilly dead in the eyes of the law? If you're civilly dead, you're not free. So don't think because they put free on black man, that means it's cool to be a black man. No, it's not. They're lying. But that's all your traitors do. Lie. And then you go with it because, you don't know any better. Because you don't study. You don't know thyself. And then when Moors try to tell you go know thyself, you get offended and stuff like that. I don't want to study. Why you keep telling me study? Because that's all that thing that's going to save you. Ain't no Jesus in the clouds coming out and all that stuff. You know, Elohim's coming on the mothership to get you out of any of this BS that you got to deal with this European in your own land, enslaving you. No mothership coming. Even matter of fact, talk to one of the brothers on the continent who moved there, and they're dealing with the same sellout BS that we're dealing with here. So what are you going over there for? To deal with the same sellout BS that we're dealing with here? What's the sense? Might as well stay here, deal with these sellouts over here. But that's what happened. When you stray away from the correct teachings and you want to listen to nigger scholars, indigenous leaders, fake whoever it is that is making some type of claim that they're for the liberation of the people and all that stuff, and then when you check, well, if they're for the liberation of the people, how come they're living so good and comfortable and stuff like that? They got a good suit and all that stuff, and then his little brother is over here eating roast cereal. How come he's eating roast cereal, and these people over here are playing games? And oh yeah, guaranteed. You know what I mean? 300 days of sun is better than the stuff that we gotta deal with out here. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Right? No free black men, no Africans, none of that. You're not even supposed to go there. As soon as we go there, we're in the negative. Right? People happy because, oh yeah, Killer Mike started a black bank and all that stuff. There were people with black banks before him. What happened to all those black banks before his black bank that nobody talked about? Oh, because he's Killer Mike, you're going to talk about his bank, but you're not going to talk about all the black banks before him that failed. And you're not going to ask yourself why they fail. You're just going to go ride with another black bank, and it's not going to register in your brain that maybe they failed because they're calling them black. Maybe that's why they're failing. Nobody ever consider maybe they're failing because maybe they bombed Black Wall Street because they were calling it black. Maybe they bombed Move 9 because Move 9 is not a nationality and all that stuff. People are playing games. But why are they playing games? Because I guarantee you, they followed some trader. Listen to some trader in some video or some lecturer or whatever like that, who when they go there, they don't do like El Hajj and tell these people stop clapping and stuff like that. They let them clap. 5 hours clapping for some stuff. What are you clapping? You clapping when people are getting murdered out here? Clapping at a lecture? Matter of fact, you still doing lectures? Yeah, lectures never saved anybody yet. We've been doing lectures since the 90s. Trust me, lecture never saved anybody. Only thing lecture does is give you some information. But that depends on who's lecturing, because again, if you have these traders out here lecturing to you, guaranteed you're gonna be in the soup. You're gonna be the crab in the bucket, in the barrel. You're gonna be all the stuff that we're complaining about. We're telling you that Drawley came in the 20s, told our people they're not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian, because those names were given to slaves by slaveholders. And then we still have those slaveholder names today, and we're talking about free black people and talking about people got rights and talk about let's go vote, and I got the vote shirt on, and I make $2 million a year, and I make $5 billion an hour. So go vote because I got the vote shirt on, and then we're gonna go vote for somebody when none of that stuff doesn't matter coming from so-called black, Negro, colored, African people. It doesn't mean anything. And then you have the so-called black Indian guys that they're from this tribe and that nation and that whatever. But then you ask them, well, if you're so native and all that stuff, you endorse the UN declarations? Oh yeah, UN declarations of the indigenous people and all that stuff. Yeah, the rights of indigenous people. All right, well, what's your nationality? Well, nationality doesn't matter because I thought you just said you endorsed the UN declarations and all that stuff. How you endorse the UN declarations? And then UN declaration says indigenous people have a right to nationality. And then when I ask these indigenous people, Dane Callaways and all these people, what's your nationality? They don't want to deal with nationality. They want to snitch to YouTube and stuff like that and start talking about we're using their video and all that. We're monetizing. We don't monetize jack on our channel. They're nothing to monetize. What are you monetizing for what? You're monetizing other people's stuff. What are you talking about? Can't even answer the question, what's their nationality? And you're riding with them? And then, on top of them, and the Negro, black, colored, whatever, on top of all them, plus the fake indigenous whatever, all the fake conscious whoever's that's been telling you whatever, now Moors now, people with turbans and fezzes on, are telling you 1,000 for these papers. Give me 1,000 and these papers, oh, they're going to free you or whatever. And then you go buy some papers for 1,000 notes. Why? How come? Because I probably listened to some dumb nigger, opportunist, with a fez on or a turban. And it never dawned on you that, hold on a second, well, let me see. Nationality, I want. So that guy over there is telling me nationality 1,000. All right. How much papers is the nationality thing? 5 papers. 5 papers. All right. 5 divided by 1,000. How come your paper is so expensive? Your paper is just, gold paper or something like that? A platinum paper? What kind of paper are you printing this stuff on? That you're going to hit me up for 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 8,000 for some papers. And then that's just that. We didn't even get to cards yet. We didn't even get to books yet. We didn't even get to any of that yet. Just the papers only. If you declare your nationality, 1,000 notes. Right? This is how you know these people are traitors. Right? You know how you know these people are traitors? Because Juali told these Moors, we honor all true and divine prophets. Juali told these Moors, we honor all true and divine prophets. Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and Ali. Well, let's just see what Confucius had to say about these opportunist people. And remember, take this as a lesson, because Juali said to honor Confucius. He demanded and ordered Moors to honor Confucius. Did they honor Confucius? Nah, they want to honor their nigger leader. They want to honor reincarnated prophets. They want to honor calypso singers. They want to honor all these people who have no honor. Let's see what Confucius has to say. Doing for nothing. From the idea of righteousness, the Confucianists derived the idea of doing for nothing. One does what one ought to do simply because it is morally right to do it, and not for any consideration external to this moral compulsion. In the Analects, we are told that Confucius was ridiculed by a certain recluse as one who knows that he cannot succeed, yet keeps on trying to do it. We also read that another recluse was told by a disciple of Confucius, the reason why the superior man tries to go into politics is because he holds this to be right, even though he is well aware that his principle cannot prevail. As we shall see, the Taoists, followers of a philosophy that came into being in the early 200s BC in China, taught the theory of doing nothing, whereas the Confucianists taught that of doing for nothing. A man cannot do nothing according to Confucianism, because for every man there is something which he ought to do. Nevertheless, what he does is for nothing, because the value of doing what he ought to do lies in the doing itself and not the external result. Nevertheless, what he does is for nothing, because the value of doing what he ought to do lies in the doing itself and not in the external result. So think about all the people who they got turbans and fezzes on. They say they honor Noble Juali. They say they're supposed to uplift fallen humanity and all that stuff. They got Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nations and all that stuff. But then they're telling you, oh, 5-minute conversation on the phone, 500. Oh, you want me to pick up the phone? Oh, that's 100. And then another 500 when we talk. Oh, we're going to talk for an hour on the phone, and then after the phone call, I'm going to tell you about, oh yeah, I'm going to send you the bill. I'll send you the PayPal stuff so that you could make your donation. They didn't tell you that up front. These people aren't honorers of Confucius like Juali taught them. They're traitors. That's why you're in the situation you're in right now. Can't get anything done. Because they've raped so many people. For example, you know how many people who are coming into this information bumped into the wrong Moors, and then they're gonna come to us after they bump into the wrong Moors and pay their 5,000 or whatever. Then they're gonna come to us, and first thing they talk about, well, I don't think I have any finance to give anybody for anything because that guy over there took my 5,000. So, I hope I don't have to pay you for anything, because if I have to pay you, then that would mean that, the Moors don't know what's going on and all this. No, it means you don't know what's going on, because you're the one that went and got played by this guy for $5,000. And then after we tell you, nah, he played you for $5,000, you're not going to go beat his head in? You're not going to go call some highwayman, press some charges on this guy for fraud or nothing like that? You're not going to... Oh, but then you're going to come to us and then you want the free stuff now after... Okay. It doesn't really work like that, really. It doesn't really work like that. Because ever since we've been on this, we've been doing this for nothing. Because we know that the value lies in the doing. The value lies in taking the phone call of the individual crying because they just spent their last rent money or whatever to go buy some package from some dirty bastard who people are going to get mad. Why are you always going at your brothers? They're not my brothers if they're robbing people. What brothers? They're not my sisters if they're whoring themselves. Are they my sisters? What sisters are you talking about? I don't know none of my sisters. None of the matriarchs, sibyls, grand matron, matriarchal beings that I know do any type of whap and hose in this house and all that stuff. That's not even on their radar. So if that's my standard, you know what I mean? The Moorish woman being Allah in the flesh, then everything else is uncivilized, as far as I'm concerned. I ain't paying attention. I don't care how fat your ass moves and all that stuff. I could give a shit. Where's your brain at? Where's your mind at? Oh, his brother? Oh yeah, he got the newest whatever like that. I'm taking him serious. Where's your mind at? Just like the Moor said today. Yeah, I asked the duty council, hey, what color of law is? Fine. I don't even need you. Get the hell out of here. Waste of time. You don't even know what color of law is? You're trying to defend me? Get the hell out of my face with your BS. What are you talking about? Who sent you over here? Somebody sent your ass. There ain't no way you just came over here on the moor just because you feel like it. Somebody sent your ass. Who sent you? Go back to them people and let them know. Because you're a dumbass, I'm not even entertaining anything that you have to say. Same thing with our people. So you start talking about black stuff and all that, whatever, BS. Can you please explain the 400 years doctrine? The 400 years doctrine is a fraud. The 400 years doctrine is a fraud. Because before 2019, they've been saying 400 years. Think about it. Think back to how long you've been hearing 400 years of slavery. Think back to how long you've been hearing that. Okay, well, 400 years just hit last year. If 400 years just hit last year, wouldn't that mean that the people who've been telling you 400 years prior to 2019 are liars? Would that mean that they're liars? And if they're liars, wouldn't that mean it's time to let my people go? Isn't it time to let them people go? It's not time? You still holding on to these liars and these traitors? Then hey, then get what you get. I mean, what do you want me to do? What are we gonna do? If the truth is out there, but you want the lie. Well, I can't handle the truth. Well, then enjoy drinking that lie juice. Enjoy. You're on your own with that, though. I mean, we're trying to pass your cup over here, but we're not even going there. What are your thoughts on the blood rights heirs? Give me a little bit more of that, because blood rights heirs are the people who come from the womb that are about to inherit something. Those are the heirs by blood right. So if we came out of the Asiatic womb, then we're the heirs of anything that the Asiatic presented. If we came from a European womb, then we're the heirs of anything the European did. So when we say blood right, and then the woman says, and then the baby comes out, and then there's blood, but that's called birth. Blood rights is also birth rights. And which lets us know Noble Drew Ali was the man, because ain't nobody was talking about birth rights before Noble Drew Ali. And then we might hear blood rights now, and then, you know, we think that's some separate stuff. When blood rights are birth rights. And they could just say birthrights, but then if they say birthrights, then they got to give supreme honors to Noble Drew Ali, and then they can't be the man anymore. Because nobody wants to give Noble Drew Ali his props. Which is another reason why we suffer, because we're supposed to honor our foremothers and forefathers, which Noble Drew Ali is the forefather of the Moorish Americans. Anybody who's in America claiming that they're a Moor since the 1900s owes Noble Drew Ali something. And then if they're not going to give it up to Noble Drew Ali, then that should let you know something too. Now, if we're talking about the right of blood and different blood types and all that stuff, then you already know anybody out here, you cut them, they're going to bleed. And we can talk blood type stuff all we want, but there's probably 1% of the planet who are the original blood. Everybody else is mixed up in here. You know, original anything, unless you're going to some remote island somewhere where, you know, somebody coming in a boat and they're getting bow and arrow to death. That might be really the only true bloodline like that. Other than that, everybody else, they're mixed up. We're also mixed up. It's just not even funny. Which is why you can't even understand how come there's no unity in the world or whatever, because all the religions are the same, all the languages come from the same place, all the different people come from the same one. Everybody knows everybody comes from Lucy. So if everybody comes from Lucy and she's Asiatic, then what is there? How are we different bloods of something? But you know, people like confusion. So because confusion is war, and then war is big finance. If that didn't answer your question, just send it again. Can you please explain or debunk the Egyptian enslavement of the Hebrews as written in the Bible and the propagation of this doctrine? The propagation of this doctrine by the Hebrew Israelites. Oh, and yes, and with regard to Brother Obashango L's process, that's his process. If that's where you are in your mind, about the blood and the whatever, then that's the only more that I would go deal with regard to that. Now, I've been known Toriano since mid-2000s. Matter of fact, we brought him here for a lecture before the locks, when nobody was even paying attention to Obashango L. We brought him here to do a lecture without the locks. We were in the hotel room with him when he did some ashes or whatever, threw down some stuff on the table, and all we're hearing all night, knocking. Just knocking. And definitely nobody in the room but us. Definitely the door knocked a few times. Then just go verify with him when you talk to him about this. The door knocked a few times, opened the door, looked outside, down the hall or whatever like that, nobody out here. Closed the door back, knocking. Wall, knocking. So, we know the powers of the Moor. We know he's on the high road. We know for a fact that he's on the high road. That's why anything having to do with the blood demonstration, you better go check Brother Toriano Obashango L and what he's doing with regard to that. Nobody else. Don't be listening to anybody else with regard to that. Only go to him. Because as soon as you go to anybody else, trust me, you're about to be played. Guaranteed. Right? Guaranteed. Trust me, we ride with Obashango L 100 hard body. Now, me personally, I ain't doing any DNA and all that stuff because I already know I'm Moorish American. I don't need to prove anything to myself. I already know what's up. People who need more and they don't trust in themselves to study to know who they are, then go check that more and go get your blood stuff and figure this stuff out. Egyptian enslavement of the Hebrews as written in the Bible and the propagation of this doctrine by the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, first of all, Hebrew Israelites are fraud. No such thing as a Hebrew Israelite. Because when we see Hebrew Israelites and we ask them, just like with the Indian guys, hey, what's your nationality? Oh, I'm Hebrew Israelite. All right, let me see that. Let me see your ID or papers or something. Well, Yahweh and all that stuff, people are playing games. I ain't listening to them. BS. Right? Egyptian enslavement of the Hebrews. Well, keep in mind that Egyptians are North Africans, which means that they're Moors. And you already know, everybody knows the Moors enslaved people and stuff like that. So ain't nothing. That's part of our history that our people don't want to deal with. And keep in mind that all the Egyptian pharaohs were women. None of them were men. And remember that Israelites come from Canaanites. That's why Abram changed to Abraham, because his God was El Shaddai before it was Yahweh. You know the games these people are playing with you? How come they never tell you about El Shaddai, all these Hebrew Israelites? They always tell you about Yahweh. Why don't they tell you about the God before Yahweh? El Shaddai. But they're not going to go there. Because if you go there, then that would be evidence that they're actually Canaanites, not Hebrew Israelites. And if they're Canaanites, then that means that they're Moors, and they need to stop playing games. They need to stop playing games. Right? Like the Moor said, Hebrew Israelite are the ones that crossed over. Not crossed over like there's something there and I crossed over. Crossover like EPMD and LL, the crossover. No crossover. You're not supposed to be a sellout nigger. That kind of crossover. Not the crossover that you crossed over something. The crossover that Hebrew Israelites are sellouts because they're descendants of Canaanites. They're not Israelites. Their first god was Canaan. Canaan was their god. And then they got rid of El and they start talking about Yahweh is their god. You tell me that's not a sellout? They sold their god out. And then they're telling you about some tribes of whatever god and all this type of stuff when the 12 tribes is a zodiac. These people are playing games. And they'll keep playing games because our people don't want to study. Our people just want to hear and listen to dumb people think that they know something when they don't know jack. They don't know anything. They make you think you don't. They make you think they know something because you don't know anything. And then you don't know anything because you don't study. Once you start studying, you start seeing the veil fall from all these fictions out here, and you'll see these people being exposed. You'll see them exposed for what they really are. Traitors, sellouts, turncoats, dirty Moors, whatever you want to call them. And then at that point, you're supposed to go get your rope, bring your truck, and then tie the rope around them and drive the truck to a cliff and then open the door, jump out, and then let the truck just do whatever it's doing. What about my truck? See, that's your problem. That's your problem. Worried about things that you shouldn't even be concerned about. Right? Now again, ain't nothing wrong with absolutely nothing's wrong with Hebrew. It's beautiful, beautiful language to those who speak it fluent. Ain't nothing wrong with Christianity. Because we know that's the Gnostics. We know that came from ancient Egypt. We know that came from Hindustan. We know that came from Persia. We know that that is not some European doctrine. There's a Christianity. We know that's not some European stuff. Right? There ain't nothing wrong with it. Right? Ain't nothing wrong with them changing the names to suit their self and whatever. Right? That's just human nature. That's not, people are going to adapt to what they know. Right? So yeah, they're going to say Yahweh instead of God. They're going to say 12 tribes instead of 12 disciples. Right? They're going to say Abraham and Moses and all that stuff instead of Jesus and whatever. It's cool. I mean, ain't no issue like that. Right? Frick, even Wu-Tang told you that Bible is basic instructions before leaving Earth. Like, remember, it's basic. Not advanced. It's basic. It's basic. So if there was going to be a problem with the Bible and all that stuff and the people following the books of the whatever, is that those are basic lessons and these people are adults. Time to put your kindergarten stuff in kindergarten and leave that stuff there. And let's go over here and deal with some advanced metaphysics. Let's deal with some, turning your lower self to your higher self. Let's deal with some eliminating generational curses. Let's deal with some higher level stuff than, pray and sing and yell on the street corner as if that's going to, voting and all that stuff, as if that's going to do something to help our people. It's not going to do anything to help anybody. If you got any questions, just throw them out.
Garrido, a conquistador, the Spanish name for a conqueror. Garrido was born around 1480 in West Africa. As a young man, he traveled to Lisbon, Portugal, then to Sevilla, Spain.
Now, if he traveled to Lisbon, Portugal, and then he traveled to Spain, and he was born in 1480, then when he was in Lisbon and when he was in Spain, there were still Moors and stuff like that around. This wasn't some takeover thing where there's no Moors or whatever like that during that time. There was definitely Moors during that time. Most definitely there were Moors. Matter of fact, if he's West African and then West Africa, and then you just go Google it right now. West Africa fezzes. Bet you pictures come up with West Africans wearing turbans and fezzes just like Moors wear, which should let you know something again. Which should let you know something again. But, if you leave it up to the traders to tell you, they're going to lead you on a wild goose chase. And it's not really that hard to catch a goose, really. So when they say wild goose chase, but it's not really that hard to catch a goose. It's harder to catch a chicken than a goose. Right? We had farm in the islands and all that stuff. Trust me, it's harder to catch a chicken than a goose. Because geese don't run from you. Matter of fact, all you gotta do is put something in your hand and they're coming over, you grab the neck. It ain't no big deal. So the wild goose chase isn't wild like that. It's because you have to be incompetent if you can't catch a goose. Because geese don't run. You could walk up on a goose and it's just gonna look at you. If the babies are there, you're gonna get the hissing and all that stuff. You think that it's some type of boa constrictor or something like that. They're gonna send you all over the place. Have you thinking that you found something about yourself. Right? Why do we as a people continue to preach and follow religion? Well, the ones who are preaching religion are sellouts, and the ones who follow religion are under social conditioning. It's that simple. The ones who are preaching it are traitors and sellouts, because trust me, the people who are claiming preacher and all that type of stuff, they went to school to be a preacher. And when you go to school to be a preacher, they teach you all the metaphysics and all that stuff about the Bible, about religion. They teach you about spirituality. They teach you about metaphysics and all that. So if they're going to teach you all that, and these people are only going to come out with one guy in the sky, and then another guy came, and then he had some guys around him, and, you know, he died for your sins and all that stuff, they're a sellout. But then what do the sellouts do? The sellouts go to the dumb people who are followers, right? The sellouts go to the people who are followers, the people who aren't going to study, the people who need a middleman to make their connection between them and God. But, you know, when God showers them with blessings, they're going to take 80% of the blessings, give it to the church. When church had nothing to do with that, where you went? But again, that's social conditioning, why people do that. It's social conditioning that these people pray 5 times a day, not 25. Why wouldn't you pray 25? If God's like that, why would you limit it to 5 times a day praying? You'd be praying every goddamn minute of the day if it's like that. No, not every time, just 5 times, that's it. All right. And they tell you about 5 pillars of Islam and all this. Stop the dumb stuff. That's the follower stuff. Right? So remember, the ones preaching are the traitors and the sellouts. The ones following are under mind control. That's why they're following. Right? You can't even say mice in the maze or whatever, because, you know, the mice got put there against their will. If you left it up to the mouse, you're not going in no damn maze, walking around on PCP or whatever. It ain't happening. Mice wants to be in the field or whatever like that, you know, chasing whatever mice chase. You don't want to be in some lab. Right? Like we said, just watch nature. You think nature is playing follow the leader or whatever? Nature is going by natural law. If they're in cold spots, when it starts getting cold, they're going where it's warm. That's just what it is. There's nothing personal against anybody who doesn't like warm weather and all that stuff. That's just what nature does. Nothing personal. Right? Our people have been conditioned to follow religion. Our people have been conditioned to think what they're doing when they go into those buildings is religious, when that's not religious. It has absolutely nothing to do with what religion is. This is why the theme with certain Moors is go study. Hey, how do I go Google it? See what Google says. But you're the Grand Sheik. You're supposed. No, it doesn't work like that. That was a good try though, but it doesn't work like that. This is your birthright. It's not ours. We got it in a bag and we're dishing it out or whatever. That ain't what this is. right? What is it that causes our people to always want to protest the same people who are oppressing them? How can we help them see the buffoonery? You can't help someone see if they choose not to see. If somebody has their hands over their eyes, you can't help them see. Because as soon as you pull their hand down, they're going to close their eyes. So it's not that, we can help them like that. It's not really like that. They are under social control and conditioning. What is it that causes our people to always want to protest? The same people who are oppressing them. Their foremothers and forefathers who protested against the same people who were oppressing them. Don't forget, marching and all that stuff started in the 60s. There was nobody marching during Black Wall Street and all that stuff. There was no marching going on when something went wrong. Either you had your guns and stuff like that and you're shooting back, or you're about to lose all your stuff. That's just what it was. And then they set up their little thing where, Negroes can't have guns and all that stuff, and then they got the nigger leaders to go with it. Well, yeah, non-violence and all this type of stuff or whatever like that. Got them in a perpetual state of non-violence, and now all they do is march and picket because that's all they know. They don't even know any different. And not even like they are gonna win if they had guns or whatever. I mean, you're not gonna win because if you got sound weapons and all that stuff, you're not winning against no Navy. You're not winning against no SEALs and Army and all that stuff with your 20 guys who got some guns. Like, you're not winning. But the point that you have it means that people are not gonna just be running up on you just because. No different than the guy on the block. The guy on the block that has the gun, there ain't nobody running up on him. Oh yeah, let's rob the guy with the gun. Probably not. You're going to go find the old lady or whatever like that who has some mace or whatever. You're not going to go against the guy with the gun. Doesn't even make sense. Right? Not going to get as far as you think you're going to get. Especially if you know dude has the gun. It's not going to work how you think it's going to work. So it's really conditioning that our people are under, that they learned from their foremothers and forefathers, who, that was only in the 60s, about marching. Let dogs bite them up and all this stuff, get fire hose down, just stand there and take it type of stuff. That was done so that these people today are going to be doing exactly what they're doing right now, marching and picketing to the same people who's abusing them. But then if we go talk to anybody else who has a nationality, as soon as they get violated, they go sue. You name the violation. Matter of fact, they don't even get that type of treatment. They don't get that type of treatment. Right? And it might seem like it seem like we're dodging answering things or whatever, but no, we just deal with common sense. And common sense is, why does our people, whatever it is that they do that's messed up, that you're thinking, damn, why do our people do that or whatever? That's social conditioning, why they do that. We're not going to play this black psychology stuff and start telling you, well, the mind of the black man and then we're not going there. We're not going there. Our people are under social conditioning. We're getting the countdown. That was an hour already. That's crazy. We'll be right back. Islam.